Hey family, this is Lady Wisdom with Set the Bar. Whatever it is that you do in life, I encourage you to do it with excellence. Set the bar high, set the standard high. Whatever it is that we do, we need to do it 100%, give it all we have. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the journey, we want to be able to say we gave it all we have. And I invite you to stay tuned to TV talk show My Journey with Paula G across a variety of platforms. And remember, the greatest conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? Is God a part of that conversation? And are you listening to his still small voice? Set the bar. Welcome to My Journey with Paula G, where we are juggling this journey called life while we're walking in the gifts and talents that God has given us. I am your host, Paula G, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time as a journey embracer, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much for your continued support because we really appreciate it. You know, I tell you all a lot of times that time is precious. It's the one thing that you cannot get back. So for you to think it not robbery, to spend this time here with Apology or My Journey with Apology, that was my other show. It's appreciated. We thank you so much because you got all these choices and all these people you can listen to, but you've chosen to be right here. So we appreciate you. We also want to give a shout out to our underwriters, and those are the ones who provide the means of which we can have this programming, so we appreciate them very much. And if you have a business, if you have a product, you have a service, you're looking to gain exposure in front of an audience, we are on a variety of platforms and they keep growing. Reach out to us, jerryroycelive@gmail.com, Paula at paulagvoice.com. Put underwriting opportunities in the subject line so we can start that conversation. And also stay connected, like, share, subscribe. I am Paula G Voice across all platforms. My website is paulagvoice.com. My email address is paula at paulagvoice.com. I try to keep it easy, y'all, instead of all these different things. But anyway, go on over to my website and you can see the different journeys that I have been on: radio, television, lifestyle modeling, author, my mindset journey courses. And the courses were developed out of my own, literally, my own personal journey of transforming from who I was to who I am. And there were things that I realized that I needed to do, unlocking that negative mindset, peeling back the layers, addressing some of those old wounds and those old hurts and some of that baggage from the past, addressing it, laying it out, dealing with it. It wasn't easy. Trust and believe it wasn't easy, but dealing with it so that I could now be on the other side of it, you know, then kind of rehealing again and then creating a new narrative for myself and walking in a different direction. Because the woman that I am today is not the woman that I was yesterday. Not that she was a bad person, but it was a different life, it was a different season. Circumstances, things happen in life, and you can fill in the blank or whatever that thing is. And you might say, well, yeah, Paula, but you don't know what I've been through. I don't. I don't. But the key is we all go through something, and our challenge is to be able to overcome it, to deal with it, to navigate through it, to be able to overcome it, not just get over it. I so dislike when people say that, just get over it. Because a lot of times you can't just get over it. You have to navigate through it and deal with it so that you can overcome it and move on and live a life of freedom, free from whatever that thing or things or persons or situation was that was holding you, that had you bound. I had to go through that process myself. And when I reached the point where I was able to kind of navigate through all of that and deal with some of the baggage and issues and so forth, I was then able to create a new narrative and then fulfill some of the goals, some of the dreams, that maybe I had, or some doors of opportunity that began to open as a result of the being in the new season that I am. So unlocking that negative mindset, creating a new narrative, and then writing down the vision of what it is that I desire to do. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. Writing the vision and then coming up with a plan for all of the different visions to unfold. When I'm doing this show, each season that I'm doing this show, I have a vision. I have an idea of the topics that I want to discuss, and then I need to sit and write out a plan of what each show will look like, what the vision will be, what the discussion will be. So I invite you to head on over to paulagvoice.com and check out Mindset Journey. That's just a quick testimony of my own journey as well. So and that kind of takes me to what I wanted to talk about a little bit with you all today, and that is God won't do for you what you can do for yourself. Do I need to say that again? God won't do for you what it is that you can do for yourself. And I'm going to take you to Galatians chapter 6, verse 5. It's short and it's sweet. For we are each responsible for our own conduct. Mm. For we each are responsible for our own conduct. At the end of the day, we are responsible for our own actions. We are responsible for the things that we do. We can't control what other people do. We can't control what they say. We can't control what they do, but we can control how we respond to it. We are in control of our own actions. And I know that's difficult sometimes because you have people in your life. You have people in your life that push your buttons. Mm-mm-mm. You have people in your life sometimes that can push your buttons and can make you do things or say things that you wish you hadn't done or you wish you hadn't said. When that occurs, that's when you have to call on those fruits of the Spirit: your love, your joy, your peace, your patience, your kindness, your goodness, your gentleness, and finally, self control. You have to control your emotions. You have to control, not saying suppress or ignore, but control them in such a manner that they don't, that if they're not controlled, they render negative consequences. They render things that you might not be able to take back. So we have to learn to control our actions. Get our point across is a challenge. Get our point across, but be able to control our action. There's certain people in this world that can tell somebody off, and that person doesn't even know they've been told off. And maybe a week later, they start thinking about it, and they're like, Did she tell me off? Did she bless me out? There's a way to say things and there's a way to do things to get your point across so that people understand where it is that you're coming from without you completely going off kilter and out of character. So we've got to be able to control our own actions and realize that God won't do what it is that we can do for ourselves in some instances and in some circumstances. So, I've had situations where I've realized, I've gotten upset about certain things, and I may not necessarily have responded in a manner that I should have responded. But from that, I've learned that there are times where I have to give myself a timeout. I have to give myself a timeout where I have to be still and I have to, just be still. Like I was saying, I just have to be still. I have to close my eyes, close my eyes. I have to close my eyes and just be still and, you know, listen for the voice of God, meditate, to clear my mind, to clear my brain, so that I can make intelligent choices and intelligent decisions. And I can look at what are those things that I can control. Y'all have heard that serenity prayer. What are the things that I can't control? Control those things that I can control. Do something about those things that I can't. Understand those things that I can't do anything about. Having that wisdom to know the difference, accepting that, and being at peace with that. Because sometimes we can struggle so much in our spirit with things that we don't have control over, or things that we can't do anything about, and we carry that anxiety with us. So we have to understand, what even though as upsetting as this can be, there's nothing I can do about that. So now I've got to make a decision. Am I going to allow myself to continue to be upset about this thing, or am I going to accept the fact there's nothing I can do about it? I don't have control over it, and I have to release it. Now, sometimes those things are things that we need to coexist with. And in those instances where we need to find a way to coexist from a distance, that's like, some folks, you got to love them from a distance. You got to love them from a distance sometimes. Sometimes we got circumstances where we've kind of have to deal with those circumstances from a distance. So, kind of, along this line of what it is that we can control, what it is that we can't control, what it is that we can do for ourselves. Because sometimes, I think we ask God for things that we can certainly do for ourselves. We ask God for things that, we think that we can't do for ourselves, but we can do for ourselves. And sometimes, we've got to walk it out, so to speak. You know, you do as much as you can do, go as far as you can go, glean from the knowledge of others, resources, experiences, and things that you have gleaned from the knowledge. And then, there are times when you get to that threshold and you said, God, I've gone as far as I can go. And you have to be honest about that. Have you gone as far as you can go? Have you done as much as you can do yourself? And then let God take over and take on the rest from there. So, yeah, there's certain things that we can do for ourselves, and not, go to God, because he'll look at things like, I've already equipped you with that. I've already answered that prayer. I've already given you what it is that you need for that. But sometimes we don't discern that. And that's when we've got to be still, listen to his still small voice, and act on those things. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. If you're just tuning in, this is My Journey with Paula G. I'm your host, Paula G. We're talking about God won't do what you can do for yourself. And sometimes that requires self control in certain situations, but we'll continue the conversation. This is My Journey with Paula G. I'm Paula G. We'll be back in a moment. Hey, family, this is Lady Wisdom with Set the Bar. Whatever it is that you do in life, I encourage you to do it with excellence. Set the bar high, set the standard high. Whatever it is that we do, we need to do it 100%, give it all we have. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the journey, we want to be able to say we gave it all we have. And I invite you to stay tuned to TV talk show My Journey with Paula G across a variety of platforms. And remember, the greatest conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? Is God a part of that conversation? And are you listening to his still small voice? Set the bar. Welcome back to My Journey with Paula G, where we are juggling this journey called life while we're walking in the gifts and talents God has given us. If you are just joining us, we appreciate you being with us. All my journey embracers, whether it's your first time or you're returning, thank you so much, because You have so many options, and the fact that you choose to spend this time here with me is really, really appreciative. I also want to give another shout out to our underwriters for providing the means for which we can have this programming. And if you have a business product or service you're looking to gain exposure, you can reach out to us, jerryroycelive@gmail.com or Paula at paulagvoice.com. Put underwriting opportunities in the subject line, and we'll be sure to follow up with you. So before the break, we were talking about doing doing those things that you can do for yourself. Like God won't do what it is that you can do for yourself. And I don't necessarily like to use this word, but sometimes we can be a little lazy. Sometimes we can be a little lazy. We're looking and asking other people to do things that we can do for ourselves. I've learned that sometimes in the process of learning how to do something for yourself, you gain skills and you gain so many other skills. You have some individuals that seemingly can't do anything for themselves. They're always asking somebody else, can you do this for me? I need you to take care of that for me. Can you handle that for me? And sometimes I wonder if all those people were not in their life, would they be able to function? Because somebody else is always doing. It's like it seems like they can't do anything. Seems like they can't do anything for themselves because they're always asking somebody else to do it for them. And it gets to a point where yeah, it looks like lazy. That's what that's what it looks like. Just plain looks like lazy because people won't do for themselves. Think about that. Why is so yeah, just I mean, I just wanted to take a minute and think about that. Why is that? I've been a pretty independent person, and I know a lot of you out there are pretty independent yourself. Like there are things that you are determined that you're going to do yourself, even if you don't know how to do it. You figure it out. If you have to watch videos, if you have to ask somebody else, if you have to practice, whatever it is, you figure it out, and through that you gain so much. You gain, first of all, confidence in that, oh, okay, I figured this out for myself. Secondly, realizing that you are probably capable of doing so much more than you give yourself credit for. Sometimes we throw up our hands, we have this, oh, woe is me, I can't do this, woe is me, I can't do that. We make up excuses of why we can't do something. And sometimes we just have to sit still, look at whatever it is, and figure it out. The bottom line is to figure it out. And granted, there are things that we need help from others. There are things that we have to, Lord, I need you to open this door. Lord, I need you to help me with this. But there are many, 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 many times where what we need lies within us. God gives us so much, and there's so much within us that we don't even utilize. Miles Monroe said, and I've said this before, Miles Monroe said the richest place on the planet is the cemetery because people go to their graves having not utilized their gifts, talents, they have not unlocked their potential. So, sometimes we're asking other people, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. Or we're complaining that, our visions and our dreams are not unfolding. It's because we're not doing the work. We're not doing what it is that we need to do. And yeah, it's hard sometimes. It's very, very hard sometimes. And those of us who are pretty independent, we figure things out on ourselves. Sometimes we might get a little impatient with those folk who seem to not be able to do anything for themselves. And that can be very frustrating and especially when you take the time to learn how to do something, to figure it out. It is a struggle for you, it's a journey for you. You get frustrated. It may take a long time, but ultimately, You arrive at the point that you figure it out, and here comes somebody, oh, can you show me how to do that? And, being the kind person that you are, you do it or you do it for them. And then you're like, you know what? I put in the work to get this thing done. And, here this person, ask me to help them. And hey, it's my choice. I help them and they're walking away like, oh, it's no big deal. But then the expectation is there that every time that they need something or want something, they may just come ask you because you make it look so easy. And I'm not saying don't help people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't help people. But what I'm saying for those who tend to be a bit on the helpless side, yeah, some of you do, that we have to reach a point where we've got to sit back, put our big girl pants on, put our big boy pants on, figure out how to do some of these things ourselves. Do as much as we can. And when we get to that threshold, the cliff of where we've done all that we can do, Lord, I have done all that I can do. I need you to help me with the rest. That's like when you're in school and you're preparing for a test. You've studied, you've done all your work, you've done everything that you were supposed to do during the semester, all of your assignments. You've done the work, and you say, Lord, I've done all that I can do. Help my recollection when I'm taking this test or I'm taking this exam. Help me to recall everything that I've learned and that I know. And when I see the questions, help me to recall all that I've learned and all that I know so that I can answer these questions and pass this exam and pass this test. Now you can't have that prayer if you haven't done the work, because if you haven't done the work, then there's nothing to recall. So God won't do what you can do for yourself. He is there for us. He's our helper and he will provide for us. But y'all, he's equipped us to do a lot on our own that we can do. And in that process, we become stronger, we become wiser, and we show him that we have the ability to use what it is that he's given us. So I hope that helps somebody. We've come to the end of our journey. Thank you all so much for joining us. Shout out to Jerry Royce Live, our producer. Make sure you check out theweekendchannel.tv. Shout out to Positive Power 21. Stay connected with me across all platforms, Paula G Voice. And until next time, the greatest conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? Is God a part of that conversation? And are you listening to his still small voice? Until next time, embrace the journey.
This moment of trust, can't imagine what it'd be like if you were not here with me. Stormy weather through the dark clouds, it's raining your happiness and peace and joy, like a virgin. Your pureness is clear to see. Now I have passion in the sun. I have passion in the sun. And I just wanna say thank you. Your ray of light on the morning dew, shining so bright, it's a good day. You make it easy to say I have hope, I'm alive, I have peace. Deep inside, no one can take that away. So I live to see another day. This feeling of joy, can't explain it. My whole heart is overjoyed by your love. Now I have passion in the sun. I have passion in the sun. And I just wanna say thank you. Your ray of light on the morning dew, shining so bright, it's a good day. You make it easy to say I have hope, I'm alive, I have peace. Deep inside, no one can take that away. So I
family. This is Paula G, aka Lady Wisdom, host of My Journey with Paula G. And I just want to share with you all that we are so excited because our reach is expanding. We are now presently in the Brooklyn, New York area, the Atlanta, Georgia area, the DMV, and we are growing. So if you're looking for exposure for your business, product, or service, you can reach out to jerryvoicelive@gmail.com or Paula at paulagvoice.com. Put underwriting opportunities in the subject line, and we'll be sure to follow up with you as we all continue to spread love, spread the word, and encourage each and every one of you to juggle this journey called life while we're walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given us. Until next time, embrace the journey.